to Backseat Directing,
where we talk about movies, TV shows, comics, and more.
We're your hosts,
Andrew
and Aaron.
And we put out new episodes every Monday and Thursday.
And today we're talking about the movies and shows that we're most excited for in 2023.
3, 2, 1, action.
All right, 2023 is here. We've done a bunch of 2022 recap and the beginning of 2023. We just finished recording our box office draft for this year, which was a lot of fun. I want to go over the concept of it real quick, just in case people don't know what we're talking about. We each picked 5 teams in a draft style.
5 movies for a team.
Yep, thank you. Going back and forth, and at the end, we're going to see whose team brought in the most money worldwide. Very excited for that, but it's going to be a year until we know who wins.
I'm really excited for it too. So we're going to talk about some of those movies now. We'll go over like a lot of the movies that are coming out in 2023, and we'll go more in depth on the ones that we really care about because, it's our show. So we're going to...
Yeah, we can do whatever we want. Like we can have a cat walking around on our desk if we want to.
Keeps things exciting if you're watching us on video.
Exactly. All right. So what did we decide, Andrew? Are we going in order, or are we going to start off with like the Marvel and DC stuff?
We're going to hit you guys in chronological order. Sounds good to me. I think that's what you said sounded good to you too.
Yep,
this way, the first things we talk about will be the first things that you guys can see. So it'll be hopefully what you're anticipating right now.
All right, Andrew. On the list, going first, what do you have that is coming out this month?
So coming out next month, we have Knock at the Cabin Door.
Did you want to talk about Pale Blue Eye?
We can go over it real quick.
It just came out real quick. You just watched it. It was one of the first movies that you watched that came out this year. When did it come out? January 6th?
Yeah, I've been watching something pretty much every day since the new year, watching something, either a movie or a show. And Pale Blue Eye, I think, is beautiful, so well shot. Like, it's gorgeous. The snowy, woodsy setting that they shot in just looks phenomenal, and they have so many beautiful shots the way it was shot. Director was Scott Cooper. I think it's really well directed, but I think the pacing just wasn't there for me. I kind of came in with it, rating it myself between like a 6 and a 6.5 out of 10. So for me, I think on average, like a decent movie is like a 7. So I think the story's good, and the movie kind of picks up towards the end in a way that makes it more enjoyable, but just wasn't all there for me.
Yeah, I'm about halfway through. I second what you're saying. It looks really good. I think the 2 lead actors are what's keeping me in it. The story is a little bit slow, but
that's why I watched it.
Yeah, for sure.
For Christian Bale.
It's not my favorite movie, but I respect it. It looks really nice, and I want to know what happens at the end. So I'll definitely go back to finish it up. What's the next movie on the list that you wanted to talk about?
So we said it before. Knock at the Cabin is the actual title of this movie, despite how much I want to call it Knock at the Cabin Door. I also want to just call it Knock Knock, but I think that might be a movie title already.
It is, with Keanu Reeves.
So this is going to be an M. Night Shyamalan movie, which, you always get something interesting with M. Night. So, sometimes it's Avatar: The Last Airbender that everybody hates, and sometimes it's like something that everybody loves, like Sixth Sense, So I think that the concept looks really interesting. Dave Bautista looks really interesting. This family looks like they have a cute dynamic that is going to play for the movie, because the movie's going to be like dark. So, contrasting that with this super sweet, cute family, I think will definitely keep us riveted in our seats. So the movie also has a lot of mystery behind it, even with the trailer showing us a little bit of what's going to happen. We don't know.
I'm intrigued. Yeah, I'm interested.
Caught my eye for sure when I saw it in theaters, the trailer.
Yeah, I'm interested. All right, scrolling down the list, Friday, February 17th of this year, we have Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania.
I cannot wait. Have you seen the good poster for this movie?
Yes, I think so.
Yeah,
if we're talking about
like
the same one.
More like neon colors, and like it has 3 the three big heads on it, the side profile. It's so beautiful.
Yeah.
One of the better Marvel posters, and the trailer is very grand in scale. We talked about it on the episode we just discussed, our draft episode, as it kind of being like an Avengers-esque movie, like a bigger than a solo hero kind of movie.
Yeah, I agree. This one's on your team, number three on your team. So you're hoping that it does really well. But outside of that, I think it's going to be a good movie. I think it's going to be one of the better Marvel movies that have come out recently. So I'm excited for this. I will say that I've tried to avoid watching any of the trailers. I've seen one of them when it was in theaters watching a different movie. But other than that, I'm trying to stay away from everything else. I feel like Marvel shows way too much on their trailers.
It's frustrating.
Yeah, so
that's something I was going to talk about this episode, is that I prefer, like you just said, to not watch trailers.
For movies that I know I'm going to watch, I don't want to see the trailer.
If I know I'm going to watch it exactly, then I don't want to spoil any aspect of the movie, nothing. Shots of it.
Nothing.
And trailers for, like you said, for Marvel are starting to show like some of the best scenes in the movie. They messed up with the No Way Home trailer and spoiled the 3 Spider-Man basically. So I think that it's a hard part about the podcast, right? Is in discussing these upcoming projects to get background information on it. I'm like watching over and over the Across the Spider-Verse trailer, which is not, I hadn't watched it.
Haven't seen it.
Yeah, I hadn't watched it until now.
I
wanted to get some of that background information to be able to discuss, but
I think I saw the teaser for it.
That's normally all I want to watch for any movie is the teaser trailer, because those are good about hiding details for you.
All right, let's move on. We have a oddball coming in here. Friday, February 24th, Cocaine Bear. Andrew, why do you want to talk about this one?
I think that this movie has a chance to kind of be a little bit of a phenomenon. It's based on a true story. Did you know that?
I did not.
Yeah, apparently, I mean, it's got to be way amplified for the movie, but
for sure.
It's a bear got into, like, there was a bust maybe or something for a bunch of cocaine, and a bear somehow got into it and just goes on like a short rampage, if you want to call it that. But this movie is going to be crazy. It's going to have the bear killing all kinds of people, hunting them down. So it's kind of like a horror movie. I think that movie and Winnie the Pooh, Blood and Honey are going to be two movies that like are going to be sleeper picks for, I would say, being successful, making a lot of money based on what their budget is.
Right. All right. Movie that I want to talk about coming out Friday, March 3rd. We have Creed 3. This is the third installment, obviously, of Creed, and I enjoyed the first two a lot. Both of them get me pumped up and ready to work out. And I really like, oh wow, why can't I think of his name? Jordan?
Oh, Michael B. Jordan.
Yeah, Michael B. Jordan.
And Jonathan Majors.
And Jonathan Majors, who is also an Ant-Man. So he's got 2 giant movies coming out back to back. So good for him. He's definitely on the climb in terms of kind of popular actors, you know. But yeah, I haven't seen or don't really enjoy a bunch of the Rocky movies before this, but Creed I'm really excited for. I'm excited to see the two of them kind of throw it down.
You haven't seen the Rocky movies? Is that what you just said?
I've seen some of them. Dude,
you got to watch all of those. Have you seen Rocky 6 or
No.
Rocky Balboa?
No.
Oh my! Have you seen the first Rocky?
Yes.
Okay, I mean that's great. But the one with Mr. T, Rocky 3, I think. Have you seen that one?
I don't know. I kind of get foggy around.
Those
3.
are my favorites. I know everyone loves Rocky 4 with the
yeah.
with like what is it, Ivan or Ivo?
Yeah.
Ivan Drago. But dude,
I don't know. I'm just not a big like old movie person.
No.
I know.
Don't say it isn't so.
I know. You're the film snob and I'm the movie lover. You know, like I like movies for a good time, and for whatever reason, older movies, I'm just, they're kind of slow. They don't look as good as they do now. I know.
I hate to break it to you, pal, but your opinions are often really similar to mine when we walk out of the theater. So you might be a little snobbier than you think.
Maybe. All right, next movie, Friday, March 17th, we have Shazam! Fury of the Gods.
Oh, we skipped over 65.
Ugh.
Or as you like to call it,
46. I have a problem with names, okay? You know this about me. Yeah, it actually comes out the same day.
Okay,
Shazam.
perfect. Okay.
The reason I keep skipping over it is because it's a number.
Yeah,
You know,
yeah,
and I just think it's like the number of the movie that's coming out. But yeah, 65. Let's talk about that one first. This is an Adam Driver movie. He is basically time travels or something to a prehistoric Earth. And instead of aliens, there's dinosaurs and futuristic guns and stuff. And I don't know, it looks fun. You know, it looks exciting. It looks like one of those movies that you can just go watch and enjoy. You don't have to think too much. You know, like, I like those movies every once in a while.
You know what I think is kind of pushes me away from it is it reminds me of like After Earth, which is a movie that I was so
hyped.
I can't tell you.
I was pretty hyped for that.
It came out when we were younger, so I think I was like in middle school, and to me, I was like, "Oh my gosh, The Karate Kid with Will Smith! This is gonna be the best movie ever!" And I so underperformed for me, so that's why I feel like I'm not with everyone else on the hype train for 65.
Yeah, hey, you're right. It definitely has the potential to be a terrible movie, but I'm excited for it. Will I see it in theaters? Probably not.
We'll see. I mean, we might have to.
Yeah,
if we're going to talk about
exactly. But let's go to a movie that I will see in theaters: Shazam! Fury of God. What do you think about this one?
That'd be. I like how you added on the S, because I think that it'd be such a different tone if it was Fury of God. It's just completely turned this. It's like now a Mel Gibson movie, except with Zachary Levi as Shazam. No, but I don't know. I think the movie's cast is pretty stacked. The villains are incredible actresses, and I think the trailer has the trailer gets me more excited than anything. Right? The music, the moment where the Shazam family shouts Shazam and transforms together, it like gets my blood flowing. But I mean, it's far
the
from my
DCU is dying.
Yeah, it's far from the superhero movie I'm most excited about. You know.
I really did enjoy the first Shazam though.
It's great that they went more with the Marvel tone and it worked. It's hey, maybe copying something.
It's one of my favorite of the DCEU. I think it was the most consistent throughout the whole movie. The effects looked great. I love Zachary Levi. So I'm excited to see this movie.
Yeah, I think a lot of the same folks are coming back, same director. Mm-hmm. You know, obviously a lot of the core cast is still there.
Then next week, Friday, March 24th, we have John Wick Chapter 4. Do people still want to see these movies?
See, I kind of fell off. I fell off like halfway through John Wick 2, which I know is probably not a good place to dip off, but I love the first one. Yeah. It just hasn't carried over for me.
Like this feels like kind of like 65, you know, where it could be a lot of fun, cool action, and that's all you're going for, really. Kind of like you, I watched the first John Wick not that long ago. Thought it was really good. Thought it was cool. Enjoyed the action, but haven't had much desire to search out and watch the next two.
The fights are incredible. I've seen clips of some scenes from the second one. I mean, I think they're still putting out the stunt coordinators and all that staff. And is it Chad Stahelski or it's either Chad Stahelski or David Leitch. One of those stunt actors turned directors directs the John Wick franchise, and they're still putting out like phenomenal action, but it just doesn't.
Yeah, is action enough to carry a franchise?
For me, it's not, but for a lot of people, it is. Obviously,
I mean, I think it can carry a movie, but can it carry a franchise? You know?
Yeah, it's not going to carry. It's not going to bring me back to the theater 4 years in a row. You know, which I know they came out more than a year apart.
Yeah. All right. Heading over to Friday, March 31st, Andrew's most anticipated movie of the year. We have Dungeons and Dragons.
I am excited for Dungeons and Dragons. I'm kind of a Chris Pine fan.
Kinda?
I really like Chris Pine.
Kinda? Like, do you like him or not?
I really like him.
Okay. I like him too.
He's super funny, super charming. I really enjoyed him. His most recent work, I think, was Don't Worry, Darling. I liked him a lot in that, even though his role wasn't very large. But I think this movie is going to be a lot of fun. I don't expect it to shatter any kind of like records or expectations or be this deeper than I expected. I expect it to be surface level and a good time.
Yeah. Looks very CGI heavy. And I feel like whenever that happens, people have high opinions, you know, loud opinions.
I'm just waiting for it to end.
If it's good enough or not, you know?
Yeah. When it ends.
Those poor artists, you know, like it's not fair.
Well, they got a lot on their plate.
Yeah.
I'm just waiting for the end of the movie when they're all like sitting around a table and like playing D&D and they're all like real world versions of these people like where they're so like fantastical in the rest of the movie, and now they're just average Joes.
Okay, ready to move on?
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know if you said it, but that movie Dungeons and Dragons, you said, could be one of the biggest flops of the year. I think you said that earlier.
I said that off camera. I think it could.
Yeah. All right, let's move on to a movie that I'm pretty excited for, not only because I think it'll be a pretty good movie, but because it's on my team, my box office draft team. Friday, April 7th, we have Super Mario Bros., the movie, coming out, and I drafted this in the third spot of my team, and I think this is, in terms of like how much it's going to make, it could make not that much, or it could make over $1 billion. Like, we could swing for the fences with this one, you know what I'm saying? So I think it'll be good. There's a little controversy going on with Chris Pratt's voice and all that stuff, which brings more draw to the movie. I think the trailers looked really good.
I think that the trailer looks phenomenal, like the animation. The story, like aspects of the trailer did not excite me. I want to see the movie because I think it looks like a lot of fun, and I think the cast
is trying to like lower people's expectation because it's not on your team.
We're gonna have
Don't listen to him. The story for the trailer it was phenomenal.
Our viewer is gonna not see this movie.
Phenomenal. Our viewer.
But I think this movie, and that's gonna help me out. But I genuinely think that the cast looks really good. Like perfect cast as Charlie Day for Luigi, Jack Black for Bowser, amazing. I think that it looks really well animated. The only drawback to me is I'm not excited by the story shown in the trailer, but it looks beautiful.
Yeah,
I'm gonna see it for sure.
I don't think I watched the full trailer all the way through, to be honest.
Avoiding trailers,
yeah, Andrew, what's next?
So you have all the dates, but the next thing that we're going to talk about
I thought you were looking at the same thing.
Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3, which is coming out
Friday, May 5th. We have Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3. This movie was my number 1 overall pick.
I don't think that it has a good chance of being the number 1 grossing movie of the year. I think it'll gross you a significant amount.
I don't know if it was going to be the number 1, but I thought it was the safest bet to get the most money. That's why I picked it so high.
I think it was a safe bet to get off the board because I wasn't thinking The Little Mermaid, which I should have been.
Yeah, we'll get there.
So this movie's going to be really good. It's capping off the trilogy. James Gunn's going to be the third director.
Last installment.
Yeah.
Everyone loves these movies, especially in terms of box office numbers from the first two. You know, they both brought in a bunch of money. The first one bringing in $773 million. The second one bringing in $863 million. So my hopes is that the trend keeps climbing upwards and brings my team in a bunch of money. But either way, outside of the draft, I'm excited to see this. I like the Guardians of the Galaxy a lot. I know you're like kind of okay on them, but I think it's going to be a good movie, especially with it being the last one. I like when stories come to an end.
This is one of the best trailers that I've seen for a 2023 movie. So I think this instills a lot of confidence in this particular Marvel movie for me. I like this trailer more than I like the Ant-Man trailer, even though Ant-Man's on my list. So we'll see how that translates to the actual movie because it's not always perfect.
So
we're getting into the summer now. So we're getting a lot of movies that are close back to back, and it's going to be a big summer 2023 for movies.
And one of the first of those summer movies was Guardians of the Galaxy, which I think will help its box office numbers. It's got a good date, May 5th.
You're not wrong.
And kind of in its shadow, we have another heavy hitter in the box office. We have Fast 5 coming out on Friday, May 19th. Andrew, Fast 5 is on your list. You picked this movie second, third overall in the draft. This movie's guaranteed to bring in a bunch of money, but it is right after the Guardians of the Galaxy. Is it going to bring in $1 billion?
I think that it's going to bring in between 800 and $1 billion. I think that feels pretty safe to me because now they got Momoa coming in, they got Brie Larson coming in, they got some fresh actors. This movie's going to be absolutely huge. It's bringing on new cast members, which they're going to do every time, even if it's just a villain. They get big names. It's the number 10. That's a huge landmark. They've made 10 movies in a series, and there's a reason because they make money every time. The last one made like $740 million
during COVID.
Yeah, so I think that just shows the power of what they can do. I think Fast 10. I think this franchise is tired. I'm not that excited to go see it, but this is going to be a big blockbuster summer movie.
See,
for
now
sure.
you have to go see it in
To
theaters
support
because
my
it's
team.
on your list.
Yeah.
Which I know you didn't really want to go to the theaters to see this. But a week after this one was one of my movies that I picked. We have Friday, May 26th. We have The Little Mermaid.
Which our pockets will all be so light from seeing Fast 10 a couple times.
A couple times in the week span.
we won't be able to afford to see The Little Mermaid,
So
unfortunately.
Little Mermaid was my second pick, and it went 4th overall. Andrew didn't even consider this one on his list.
I forgot. Yeah, I researched it and then I didn't write it down.
Yeah,
Is-
rookie mistake. That could have cost you right there.
It could cost me the win. It really could.
But out of 5 of the live action remakes that Disney has made, they have all made over $950 million, 4 of which made over $1 billion. So in terms of the draft, I think this was a solid pick. In terms of me actually wanting to see it, I don't really see the draw of these kind of movies in terms of like that much box office success. You know, like,
See, I like the original animated style.
Yeah,
I don't
me
see
too.
the need to
like
push for a live action.
They don't overly change the story that much. Like The Lion King and Jungle Book, like it was pretty much the
They'll
same.
do like one original song. And,
Yeah, it was like pretty much the same thing. Which like The Lion King was cool. Lions are my favorite animal. It was fun to watch, but like.
The Aladdin movie built a lot, I thought, on Jasmine's character. It made her more like independent.
I haven't
and
seen that one.
I think that one changed her quite a bit, and it was a decent difference to the story. She wanted to be more than a wife, and I think that was a big improvement for the story. Moving along with like the cultural changes we've made as a society since the first movie came out. So they can make differences. And I'm sure they'll try and do something to mix it up with The Little Mermaid. It's just like live action musicals aren't always my like go-to movie.
I think what helps this movie make a bunch of money is that parents will take their kids to go see it.
Yeah.
You know, like parents aren't necessarily going to go take all their kids, their younger kids, to go see Fast 10. You know, like, so I think that's where a lot of that money comes from, because probably per person in a car that's coming, you know, they're bringing 2 or 3 people with them.
Yeah.
You know, so
I'll bring my daughter and her friend to go see The Little Mermaid, and
Yeah.
just making that movie's gonna be making stacks for sure. It's
Yeah.
gonna be huge Tampa.
And a week later, we have, again, everyone's already spent all their money. Friday, June 2nd, something I'm looking forward to a lot. Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse, Part 1. It's Part 1. How exciting is that? Part 1.
they're
That
coming
means
out-
we get
yeah.
another one after
They're
this.
coming out back to back years. See,
Yes.
you said spend all your money. I will sell my blood. I will do whatever it takes to get into the Across the Spider-Verse theater.
Yeah. Like
I'm
I
so
told
excited
you,
for this
I'm
movie.
going to pay for a Little Mermaid ticket, and then I'm going to jump on over into the Spider-Man Spider-Verse movie. That way my movie gets the money, but I get to see Spider-Man Spider-Verse. I'm very excited for this movie.
This is one of the ones I've done in-depth research on that I'll go over quickly. So for people who are fans, which I think there's a lot of us out there, Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse is coming out June 2nd, 2023, like we said. The budget is $150 million. It's directed by Dos Santos, Powers, and Thompson. So those are 3 completely different directors from the first movie, which is interesting. The writers are Phil Lord. He's returning. He helped write with the first movie. I think he does the bulk of the writing for these. And there's 2 other writers on staff that are different than the first movie as well. Shamik Moore is returning as Miles Morales. Jake Johnson is returning as Peter B. Parker. Haley Steinfeld as Ghost Spider. Oscar Isaac as Miguel O'Hara, or Spider-Man 2099. Brian Tyree Henry as Jefferson Davis, Spider-Man's dad. Issa Rae as Spider-Woman. Daniel Kaluuya as Spider-Punk. Jason Schwartzman as the Spot. And a bunch of other people as well. All kinds of Spider-Man can be seen in this trailer. All kinds of Easter eggs can be seen in this trailer. I mean, there's a comic book from one of the earliest Spider-Man issues that's in the first movie as well. I've seen a lot of people point out the Easter egg that there's when he travels between dimensions, there's all these hexagons, which are kind of a theme in the MCU. They use them with Wanda a lot with her magic. And we see a ton of Spider people. We see like basically all the costumes from the games, the Spectacular Spider-Man TV show, Ultimate Spider-Man. We see this Spider-Man PS4 costume. This trailer is rife with details, and I think that there's going to be a huge universe. Apparently, did you know that the place he's going to? You said you haven't watched this trailer?
I am not.
Do you not even want to hear me talk about it?
No, go ahead for the people.
Close my ears. They go to kind of what is this like community of Spider-Man, which I'm sure you've seen that much, and Miguel O'Hara seems to have like gathered a Spider-Man of the multiverse to work on problems together, but for whatever reason, he's excluded Miles Morales specifically from joining. And that's why I think they're all chasing after him at one point, is he is not meant to be there in this, like, if you've seen Rick and Morty, it's kind of like the Citadel of Ricks for alternate universe Spider-Man to all gather together. So it seems like maybe the Spot isn't going to be the only villain of this movie. He's going to obviously be contending with other Spider-Man and Miguel O'Hara, and somehow I don't know where Peter B. Parker and Spider-Gwen are going to fall on this, or Ghost Spider are going to fall on the spectrum, who they're helping. I assume they're close enough with Miles to be trying to save him, but we've seen him being chased by an army of Spider-Men. So super interesting plot. Jason Schwartzman is voicing the villain of the Spot, which is super cool. Villain who has interdimensional powers that tie in with the theme of the movies being dimensional travel. Also, I just watched The Fantastic Mr. Fox, where Jason Schwartzman voices Ash, and that is one of the best voice performances I've ever seen in animated content ever. I just because of the sheer ability of comedy. Like, that's comedy to a 10 out of 10. I feel like Jason Schwartzman can do anything now, and I have so much, like, in terms of this voice acting world, I have so much confidence in him as the villain, because I died laughing so many times watching this movie with his voice work for Ash. I love his voice work.
Yeah, I'm so excited for this movie, and you've already said it. I've tried to avoid learning anything about this movie. That way I'm fully surprised when I'm watching the movie. I can't wait to see this movie.
It's going to be really good. I have every bit of faith that it'll be as good as the first.
And with that, we are halfway through the year of movies, which means we're theoretically halfway through this episode, and we wanted to take a break and say thank you so much for watching. And if you haven't already, go over to our YouTube page and hit subscribe. It helps us grow a lot, and we'd really appreciate it if you also headed over to Spotify and gave us a 5-star rating so our podcast could be shared to more people. Let's dive back in and continue through the year. Coming out Friday, June 9th, we have Transformers Rise of the Beast. Andrew, do people still like these kind of movies? Like, you said it about another movie on here that it's tired.
Yeah, I said about a few franchises on here.
Yeah.
I think John Wick and Fast and the Furious, yeah. But I think that there's always a market for a turn your brain off action movie. And I think Transformers Rise of the Beast,
something that's very unique, has really good special graphics, like it looks phenomenal. But I just don't think the story is going to be there. And I don't know, I'm just not very excited. After Transformers 4, I've lost interest.
They almost drew me in just to see the Beast Transformers. Like, they look really cool.
Yeah, but they remind me a bunch of the dinosaur Transformers, and those were like...
I didn't watch that movie, though. So
yeah.
There's no redundancy.
You have that going for you.
Yeah, there's no redundancy for me.
Yeah, there you go. Well, good for you. I know you don't really like Transformers to begin with.
I like the first one.
The first 3 were pretty good, and then the 4th one fell off, and then I didn't see the one after that.
I think the first one had a tone that worked, and the other ones just felt like Expendables sequels to me. But
the third one's definitely the best. It's a fantastic movie. It's one of the best movies out there.
It is, but
see, you agree. One of the best movies out there. Gotcha.
No.
Gotcha. You guys heard it. You heard him.
I'm just trying to find.
He agreed with me.
I'm just trying to give him a transition to the next topic to stop talking about Transformers.
Film snob over there agreed with me that The Dark Side of the Moon is one of the best movies out there.
Dark Side of the Moon is trash. They couldn't even get Megan Fox to come back.
You're reaching.
They couldn't even get their own cast members.
Friday, June 16th, we have Elemental coming out.
Which, after not going to the theater at all for a little while, since I won't have seen any movies since Spider-Man, I'll be happy to come back and pay my at least to go see Elementals once. That's probably a movie I'll want to see more than once, because that's my most anticipated Pixar project. Looking at the lineup for all the stuff that they announced recently, Elemental looks so cool. And if you want to hear us talk more in depth about Elemental, you can check out our D23 news update episode we did. It's episode 20, and we talked more in depth about it. So it's going to be directed by Peter Sohn. And like I already mentioned, it's a Pixar movie. It follows a couple or two individuals that seem to want to become a couple, Ember and Wade. Ember being made of fire, Wade being made of water. So kind of the contentious relationship that they're going to have with the two of them not even being able to physically touch each other, being opposite elements. So I think that there's a lot of emotionality they can draw from this story, and it just looks beautiful. The water they have dripping off of Wade, the constant moving nature of the fire on Ember. I think that it's going to be a truly beautiful story visually and emotionally. So I'm excited to see that movie.
Yeah, we'll see. It feels like it could be like that comeback movie for them. Their last three projects, I don't think, have made more than $220 million. So,
but regardless of money, Pixar, I think, is my favorite studio in terms of animated movies and on average. Because even what you say is true, Soul is incredible.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, I would agree with what you just said for sure.
You would agree that Pixar is your favorite animation studio as well?
Yeah.
Just curious.
Yeah. Why, are you trying to gaslight me here?
Well, I mean, I thought you might pick Illumination because you're so excited to have Super Mario Bros. On your draft list.
They have the most potential for this year, for sure. All right, let's move on. We have a movie that neither of us picked in the draft because of its question marks that surround it. We have Friday, June 23rd, The Flash.
Yeah, this is way too dicey of a pick. I mean,
for sure.
it could come out with like...
It could literally make $1 billion or not be released at all.
I mean, I could see it even making doing Black Adam numbers. Like it could just be released and do really poorly.
Yeah.
Or it could, like you said, $1 billion. It's had so much effort put into it, so many reshoots. Maybe it's fantastic.
Yeah, but maybe Ezra Miller gets arrested again and it doesn't come out at all. You never know.
How much does the general public care about everything in the news about Ezra Miller? That could totally destroy the box office numbers also.
And if we didn't have this podcast, I feel like I wouldn't care about the DCEU at all.
I still would.
I care about the characters. I enjoy the characters, but they've done not a good job with the movie, especially compared to Marvel. So I don't know. This movie just doesn't matter. So why does it matter to go see it? I'm excited for it. I'm definitely going to go watch it with you and Zach. I know it's Zach's favorite superhero movie. Does this come out before Aquaman?
Yes. Aquaman comes out at the end of the year.
Well, isn't this the reset? Why is Aquaman coming out after?
Well, it's not necessarily a reset. That's what a lot of people were wanting for it, to explain that. Because in the comics, Flashpoint Paradox is a reset, yes. Right. And that's kind of what I think they've pinned as the idea for the story for the Flash is Flashpoint Paradox, but it doesn't mean they have to end it in the same way necessarily. So I doubt they'll do anything like that.
What a mess. Let's see if they can
at this
steer
point,
the ship in the right direction after these movies.
Most current news as of today is no Ben Affleck in the movie, but Michael Keaton should still be in the movie. So
doesn't make sense to me, but whatever.
It'll be strange.
I'm sure we'll talk about this movie a few more times this year.
Certainly.
So we'll let's go ahead and move on. We got Friday, June 30th. We have Indiana Jones, The Dial of Destiny. It's kind of a mouthful of a title, huh? Feels really long, right?
Yeah, no, it is really long. Almost as long as Mission Impossible Dead Reckoning Part 1.
Yeah, for sure. It definitely compares. I don't know how I feel about this one.
Again, tired franchise. I'll go back to that.
I don't I'll say it again. I don't really like watching older movies that much.
Do not extend that to Raiders of the Lost Ark.
So
do not. Oh, you're a monster.
I started watching it a week ago, 2 weeks ago. I think I got halfway through.
He invented that persona, the sarcastic, funny, witty, but can handle himself in a fight. That is the landmark for it. That's
you mean Han Solo?
Well, okay. Han Solo came out before, but he didn't do it as good.
Oh, gotcha.
That's Indy is where Harrison Ford really got to shine, if you ask me.
Yeah. He did great in those movies. For sure. Doesn't mean I want to go see this movie.
It's really phenomenal, though. I love it, though.
Do you want to go see this movie?
Dial of Destiny, no. They don't need. They need to stop damaging the original value of franchises by going back to cash grab them.
Yeah. I mean, I understand the like Harrison Ford wanted to make this movie. You know, it's something that he's very passionate about. He's putting a bunch of time into this. It's a character that he loves.
I think he looked at the check.
You think so? I don't know. Did you see him at D23 coming out all emotional and stuff? Like, I think he legitimately cares about this. I think he did the Star Wars one for a check. All of them.
I'd be curious to know if he would have come out on the stage crying if they cut that check in half. If it was half as much as, I'm sure it was a good check.
I'm sure it was too, but I think he enjoys the character. You know, no matter how old he's getting, like, I'm sure he enjoyed making this movie. And that's what I'm trying to get at, is like the artists behind these movies. I understand why they want to draw it out.
He definitely enjoyed I think, this character and coming back to it more than Han Solo. He's never seemed super fond of Han Solo.
Yeah. All right. Let's move on. Let's see. What's next? We got Friday, July 14th. We have Mission Impossible Dead Reckoning Part 1. I'm excited to see this movie. Yeah. This is the first like franchise that has like outside of Marvel.
So this is
has like 10 movies, 7 movies that I'm excited to go see. Like, I don't think this franchise is tired, do you?
I do not. It's on my draft pick for a reason, and it is my number 1 draft pick
for
2023.
Too bad I don't have a lot of money, and I've already spent it all on the earlier movies.
No. Trust me. July is the peak of summer when everyone loves to go see movies.
Yeah, I'm excited for this one. I mean, I love the marketing that's gone behind this movie, because it's the marketing of the stunts that are going into the movie. It's Tom Cruise jumping off of this cliff riding a motorcycle. Like, how awesome is that? And it's not spoiling any of the movie, so I can watch it.
But they've also genuinely managed to entertain me with the story outside of the stunts too.
Yeah. It's not just like Transformers where there's a cool new robot and a cool fight and that's what's keeping you there. It's the story is good.
Yeah, like I'll come for the stunts and stay for the story, you know? Like I really enjoyed Henry Cavill's role in the first movie. The bathroom fight scene and the Halo jump are incredible stunts.
Pretty sure that was the 7th movie, but I get what you're saying.
I didn't say a number.
You said the first movie.
Oh. I meant to say in the previous movie.
The last movie. Yeah, I got you back.
Thank you.
I just didn't want anyone like hitting me in the comments being like, he wasn't in the first one. Yeah.
No, he was. He was like a little kid. You missed him. But I think that the story with the returning villain, whose name is failing me right now, but Solomon. Yeah.
Sure. I didn't watch the trailer.
The returning villain in Fallout.
Oh, gotcha.
I think that's what makes the movie work so well, is like you're compelled by the story.
Yeah.
That gives you that anticipation towards the stunts when he's jumping between buildings. You're like, oh no, he's not going to make it. Like, that's what feeds it. So I'm excited to see what they bring us, because they seem to want to top themselves.
Yeah, they've done a good job of like sticking to a similar tone throughout the whole franchise. You know, like unlike Fast and Furious, where they started out like in the streets driving, and now like people are like, oh, it's like a Mission Impossible movie. It is not. Mission Impossible is much better.
Yeah, they're not driving flying cars through space like something ridiculous like that.
Yeah, they're jumping out of planes like people actually do. Like,
but also it's so much more plausible, because like Tom Cruise is actually doing it.
Yes, that's what I'm saying, man. Like, and every movie, maybe outside of Mission Impossible 2, has gotten better. You know, like each one is better than the last one. So my hopes are high for this. I hope that it's a great movie that no one goes and sees. You know, that way it doesn't bring you in a lot of money.
No, it's going to bring me in a ton. And if you don't know what we're talking about, which I think most people in the world know this, Tom Cruise flies his own planes in these movies, flies his own helicopters, drives his own motorcycle off of a cliff, drives a motorcycle through heavy traffic, hangs on the side of a 747, jumps out of a plane, like do a low altitude opening jump, a halo jump. Like, it's so cool. Like modern day Buster Keaton stuff, you know?
Crazy.
It's like Buster Keaton, Jackie Chan, Tom Cruise are in a league of their own, doing their own stunts.
Yeah, very thrilling. Well, this movie is going to be a big movie. We know that. And it's definitely going to overshadow the next movie that we're going to talk about that you picked on your team. Friday, July 21st, we have 2 movies coming out. We have Barbie and Oppenheimer. Barbie, you picked in your 5th spot, which I don't think is going to make that much money. Special Mission Impossible coming right before it. And the Marvels coming out the week after. Oof, Barbie, man. What do you think?
I think you're missing how much Barbie is trending, my guy, because Greta Gerwig's gonna make you eat those words.
Hey, I could be wrong, but with these 4 movies all coming out in the span of 3 weeks, I think it's going to be very hard for Barbie to make a bunch. I think it'll make a lot, like 400, 500, 600 million, but I don't think it's going to bring in like the 800s or anything high for you.
Let me speed run my details on these movies so that we're good for time. Barbie, director is Greta Gerwig, and she's a co-writer as well. We already said the release date. Budget's $100 million. Cast Margot Robbie, Ryan Gosling, Helen Mirren, Kate McKinnon, Will Ferrell, Michael Cera, and Simu Liu. That should increase your confidence, right?
Solid
there.
cast, for
Decrease your confidence, actually, in your own
I think
list.
it's going to be a good movie. I just don't think it's going to bring in as much money as your team will need to beat my team. But anyways, this is not the draft
episode. And then going on to Oppenheimer, obviously director Christopher Nolan, cinematographer, his pair that he's worked with for the last couple movies, Hoyt van Hoytema. Budget, also $100 million. Stars Cillian Murphy, Robert Downey Jr., Emily Blunt, Florence Pugh, Matt Damon, Gary Oldman, Jack Quaid, Casey Affleck, Rami Malek, Dane DeHaan, and Josh Peck.
Dang, you picked Barbie over that?
I did. I have a lot of reservations about Oppenheimer's box office, but not reservations about how good it's going to be, because I think it'll be fantastic.
I think it's going to be good too, but do you think Oppenheimer is really going to make less than Barbie?
Yes.
Dang.
So, the plot of Oppenheimer is a biopic about the invention of the atomic bomb, obviously about Oppenheimer. I found out a few interesting things about this movie I wanted to say as well. So they invented a new black and white IMAX film camera just specifically for this movie, for the parts of it that are shot in black and white, because we know Christopher Nolan loves to shoot in IMAX. Also, they replicated a nuclear detonation for this movie without using special effects. So they had to find a way to create a realistic looking explosion mimicking an atomic bomb practically, because Christopher Nolan refuses to use CGI anywhere he can possibly avoid it. They did it without any CGI or special effects.
Dang. I'm curious of how they achieved that.
Yeah, I'm sure the details will come out, in
a different episode. Coming out the week after, Friday, July 28th, The Marvels. This is the third Marvel movie of the year, outside of, I guess, the MCU movies, because we got Across the Spider-Verse as well. This one is on my team. Let's see, what place do I have this movie in? We got this one in fourth, on my fourth team member. I'm excited for this movie. I'm curious to see what they do for it. The Captain Marvel did really well. I enjoyed that movie a lot. I thought it was much better than I was expecting. I remember going into it just expecting a Marvel movie. And throughout it, I was thinking, wow, this is actually really entertaining. I enjoyed that movie a lot. So I'm excited to see this one too. We'll see how it does in the box office and how good it actually is. What do you think?
I don't think it's going to make another $1 billion, but only time will tell how close it can get to the first movie.
I think it'll make enough to justify it being fourth on my team.
Brie Larson's appearance at the end of Miss Marvel was one of the best parts of that TV series. So I look forward to seeing what they can do. But the next thing that we have to discuss on our list is the Meg.
Meg 2,
the
Friday,
Trench.
August 4th. Why is this a movie?
Is
Did
Jason
the first
Statham,
one make like a decent amount of money too?
Jason Statham is back in it. Yeah, the first one was successful, which is like, it's basically like
crazy.
if Sharknado was like competing at the box office.
Have you seen Deep Blue Sea?
No.
That
No, I
was
don't.
Samuel L. Jackson.
I haven't. No, I
Kind
haven't.
of missing on who else is in it. But
It's another shark movie.
yeah. Or no, it's not. Yeah, I think. Yeah. But anyways, that was a fun movie. And that's kind of what this gave me vibes of. But this was a little more over the top than that movie was.
Thomas Jane, the original Punisher, is in that movie. But I could definitely see that being a flop, especially being a sequel. But only time will tell with that one also. The next thing I wanted to discuss is the release of Blue Beetle, which comes out shortly after that. The release date is August 18th, 2023. Blue Beetle is going to be, if I'm not mistaken, the first Hispanic superhero with Jaime Reyes.
Mm-hmm.
So
You're right.
to get a solo movie at least. So that's really exciting. Jaime Reyes is a really interesting character. My preferred Blue Beetle over Ted Kord. So I think that this movie could be a lot of fun. Also, I've heard that this movie is 50% in Spanish. So like they're actually
Really?
injecting Hispanic culture into the movie. For someone like me who does not care about reading subtitles and enjoys like culture injected into movies, it makes it feel more real and authentic. I really love that idea. And I think that this movie could like really be like, it could be what like a Black Panther or like Shang-Chi was. Like it could be a big cultural movement. It's I'm excited to see this movie.
Yeah, that's cool. I don't know too much about it, so I'm excited to see it as well. Moving on, we have Friday, September 1st. We're cruising through the year here. The Equalizer 3. I didn't even know there was an Equalizer 2.
How'd you not know that?
I mean,
I didn't watch it, but
I found
can't
out
critique
on
too
like
much.
one of our other episodes that we did. So like I knew it going into today.
Yeah,
But
okay.
like I didn't know that it came out when it did. Like is this gonna make any money?
tired franchise again.
Yeah. It's a lot of tired franchises. People need some original ideas, huh?
Yeah,
Like,
it starts to. I mean,
why isn't our phone ringing? You know, like we have some
Hey.
original ideas. Hit us up.
yeah, and then just pay us, and I'll do none of the work.
Yeah, exactly. We got this. I'm sure the action will be cool. Denzel Washington, top tier actor. But I guess it kind of goes back to the story, right? Like, I guess the story of the second one wasn't as fantastic because, I mean, we haven't heard of it. You know, like, I don't know. Anyways, another tired franchise, Friday, September 22nd, The Expendables 4.
Oh my goodness.
4.
Oh my goodness.
Isn't that crazy? Yeah. All right.
I love the cast of the movie, but yeah. I was pretty done at like 1.
Yeah, right. Friday, October 6th, Craven the Hunter. Don't know too much about this one, to be honest. Aaron Taylor Johnson, I really like him as an actor. But is this just like another Morbius thing?
So it is in a sense, but I have a lot higher expectations for it for a couple of
That
reasons.
means it's going to be bad.
Yeah,
That means it's going to be bad. A Sony movie that you have high expectations for, that it's not Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse or Across the Spider-Verse.
Not that I have high
It's not gonna be good.
Not that I have high expectations for. That I have a lot higher expectations for than Morbius.
Gotcha.
Which,
for the record, we didn't hate Morbius.
Yeah,
I
it
think
was
we
alright.
enjoyed it more than most people.
We just thought it was fine.
Yeah, it was a fun movie.
I think Craven
That's
will
it.
be better. So Craven's a more interesting villain. He, in my eyes, Craven is kind of like the ultimate hunter. He's traditionally a Spider-Man villain, and he's kind of like a big game hunter, but he, through big game hunting in Africa, he somehow develops these powers which give him like the abilities of an animal. So he's like fast like a cheetah or strong like a rhino, and he wants to hunt the biggest game, which tends to be Spider-Man, because Spider-Man is like the ultimate prey. He's superhuman. So this could definitely be interesting. I'm sure Spider-Man won't appear in the movie, but I think Aaron Taylor Johnson signing on to the role gives me more confidence because, like you said, we both love him.
I'm just tired of the whole Spider-Man cast and villains and stuff being paired with Spider-Man.
I'm tired of them making villain movies without the hero.
Yeah. All right, let's move on. Let's see, what movie do we got next? We're gonna skip all the way into November. Friday.
We have Dune Part 2.
Yep.
Okay.
Friday, November 3rd, Dune Part 2. The first one was good. I think everyone enjoys the books a lot, and everyone who's read the books has told me that the second book is much better than the first book. And from like interviews and stuff, I've heard a lot of the same things for the movie as well, that there's a lot that's going on and that the first one was just a big giant setup for this second movie. So I feel like the expectations on this one were high. Neither of us drafted this in our draft, but I think it could have the possibility of bringing in a decent amount of money. And on top of that, it's going to be beautifully shot. The first one was beautiful.
Yeah,
it
it's
really
gonna be,
was.
if it's Greg Fraser again, which
Yeah.
I haven't researched this one because I'm not too into Dune. Aaron and I don't read books. We read comic books.
That's right.
So, I've heard the same thing, that the first one's basically a setup for the sequels, for the rest of the story. Plus, I love Oscar Isaac, so I have high hopes for that. I love Denis Villeneuve. I love Greg Fraser, so.
All right, yeah. Friday, November 10th, Chicken Run. Can't believe they're making another one. Zachary Levi is apparently in that. Friday, November 17th, The Hunger Games. Is this a tired franchise?
See, I read the books when I was in middle school, really enjoyed them. But I got tired of the movies as well. I'd call this another, give it the tired franchise stamp. I gave up on the movies after Catching Fire, which Catching Fire is a lot of fun. It's my favorite book of the franchise. The Mockingbird book was my least favorite book of the franchise, and that's part of why I had no interest in the part 1 and part 2, because I was like, they're drawing out my least favorite book into 2 movies. Like, do I want to watch 4 hours?
Did you watch them?
No.
Yeah, I did. Don't remember them, but I don't remember anything.
Catching Fire is a really good story. The book is really good, and the movie I think is probably weaker than Hunger Games, the original movie. But the first 2 are a really good story.
All right, let's see what we got next here. Friday, December 15th, we have Wonka, which I don't really have much desire to see this one. Do you?
I'm not against Timothée Chalamet, but I'm not one of those people running to the theaters to watch it. Yeah.
Same. Like, I think he's a good actor, but he doesn't have that box office draw for me.
He's definitely a good actor, and he has one of the best SNL sketches of all time with him and Pete Davidson. It's hilarious.
Yeah, so this one could be a wild card for next year, like
absolutely. Yeah, it could be phenomenal.
Total flop, or it could be like a phenomenon of the year.
It's also another one of those things with the ideas, like, why are we still doing Willy Wonka when Willy Wonka's been done? It's already been adapted, a second time. Like, I'm sure Roald Dahl has other books that we could use.
This is like an origin too, right? Like, yeah, I don't know.
Oh yeah, like a younger Willy Wonka. I think you're right.
Yeah, I don't know if the need is there for this story. You know what I mean? Like, all right, let's move on. Monday, December 25th.
Monday. I guess it's Christmas Day. That's why.
Christmas.
Yeah, that's why.
We have Aquaman in the Lost Kingdom.
Yeah, really big movies tend to come out on Christmas, so that's why it's coming out on Monday, which is not typical release day for a movie. It's been coming out Thursdays and Fridays. But this movie, I'm not huge in. I love Jason Momoa, but as a person, I like watching him rock climb. But I mean, the first Aquaman, I thoroughly didn't enjoy it. Fell asleep in the theater. It's I think the only time I've ever fallen asleep in a movie theater.
Yeah, Did you ever go back and watch the whole thing?
Nope. Not without falling asleep.
Yeah. I watched it not too long ago, and I thought the same thing. Like, it's not that good. I don't know what the hype for it was all about, Like,
I get zoned into everything. I think it takes a lot for me to fall asleep during a movie, but so many people loved it.
You didn't even get to the end where, like, the final battle.
No, I woke back up. It's bad.
You saw that?
CGI mess.
It was terrible. Like, you just don't know what's going on. Everything's flying all around in multiple directions, and it was just too much. I think Black Panther, Wakanda Forever did a much better job of their underwater scenes and dealing with the same kind of character, But I think this movie will still bring in a decent amount of money. I hope it does anyway, because it's the 5th member of my team for the draft. But yeah, it's a DC movie, and I don't know how to feel about DC movies.
Yeah, they're kind of falling into that void right now.
At least in the DCEU.
I have 2 movies that I made notes on to discuss that don't yet have release dates, so I'm going to go over those really quick before we close out movies. Killers of the Flower Moon, I believe, is slated for May of this year without a specific date. That movie is directed by Martin Scorsese. It has a budget of $200 million. It's going to be an Apple TV movie that's going to star Leonardo DiCaprio, Jesse Plemons, Robert De Niro, Lily Gladstone, John Lithgow, and Brendan Fraser. An incredible cast. The plot of the movie is about kind of the murders, I believe, of these indigenous peoples, and kind of investigating those murders, dealing with like the contentions between tribal, natives and I believe it's taking place in the 1800s, so like the natives and then like settlers, kind of those folks. So should be a very good movie. Martin Scorsese, one of the greatest filmmakers of all time. And then the other movie is called Killer, which is directed by David Fincher, one of the movies I'm most excited for. Killer is based on a French comic book, actually, so I'm excited for that. I'm going to try to read it before it comes out. It's a graphic novel about a hired killer and his deteriorating mental state. It's going to star Michael Fassbender and Tilda Swinton, so it's already got an incredible cast. If you don't know David Fincher, he directed Fight Club, Seven, Social Network, Gone Girl, Zodiac, and other movies, so some of my top 10 movies of all time in there. I love Fight Club, Seven, Social Network. I love all of these movies, but he's one of my favorite directors of all time. And this year we have movies coming out from David Fincher, Martin Scorsese. We got a Scott Cooper movie already with The Pale Blue Eye. We have a Christopher Nolan movie coming out with Oppenheimer, and Greta Gerwig's making Barbie. It is a huge movie for incredible directors, incredible talent producing these huge projects. So I'm so excited for 2023 movies.
All right, that kind of wraps up all the movies that we wanted to touch on for 2023. I'm sure there's a few on there that we didn't talk about that we'll be excited for later on. But now we're going to go into shows, and we're not going to talk about nearly as many because I feel like for shows, you don't typically get as excited for them until they're like closer to actually coming out. And
unless they're invincible.
Yeah. And there's also so many streaming platforms out there so there's so many shows coming out. It's kind of overwhelming to look through the whole list and kind of pick. So we're just going to kind of brush over a few of our favorite ones that we're like definitely looking forward to for this year. Andrew, what's your first one?
Let's go over the superhero shows first. So the first thing I have on my docket is all the Marvel shows.
All right.
So the first thing that would be coming out is What If Season 2. I believe that would be the first thing on the lineup. So a lot of these things have TBD for their announcement date.
Yeah.
But What If Season 1 was really well animated, so I'm excited to see what they put out.
Yes. That show looks incredible. It's fantastic.
The next thing coming after that is Secret Invasion, which I don't really know a lot about that storyline in the comics, so I'm excited to be kind of regaled with some more Sam L as Nick Fury and see what's been going on with the Skrulls. But I don't know much about the Secret Invasion.
I don't know much
story
about it either, but I feel like it has the potential to be really good or really, really bad. So hopefully it's on the really good side.
Yeah. After that, we'll have Loki Season 2, which I know you really liked the first season. I wasn't a big fan.
The first, man, it's so upsetting that you didn't like that one. It's so hard to do this podcast with you. Like, oh man, like I feel like so my wife has no desire coming on the podcast. I feel like this would be the one topic that she would want to talk about of like, why do you hate this show so much?
I'm trying to get her on for Harry Potter. She'll talk about Harry Potter.
All right. What's next?
After that, I got Ironheart, which, I mean, Wakanda Forever for me didn't do a lot to excite me for Ironheart. I feel like a lot of these TV shows are kind of unnecessary. It's kind of the way of what, Phase 5, huh?
Yeah, I guess so.
Are we in Phase 5 or Phase 6 now, I believe?
No, we just finished Phase 4.
Okay, so we're in Phase 5.
Yeah. Any other shows for Marvel?
They've also got Echo, which I'm basically only excited for the Daredevil cameo, and Agatha Coven of Chaos, which I'm more excited for than most of these other shows because I do enjoy Catherine Hahn when she's on screen. She has a good presence.
She does have a good presence, but I feel like I don't have much connection to her character. Like, I don't know. I barely wanted to watch WandaVision.
That can be what happens when you don't reveal your villain until the last episode.
Yeah.
She was kind of a side character all the way up until then, so it kind of diminishes your attachment to them. But that is all the Marvel lineup.
Okay.
Seems like with the 3 movies and these shows a little bit slower than last year, which is, to me, nice.
Yes. That was still a lot of shows, though.
Yeah.
For 1 year, that was a lot.
They're basically probably going to line up almost back to back.
Yeah. All right. What other superhero shows do we got?
The Boys is another superhero show, as well as Invincible. Which are you more?
The Boys. Oh man, I am more excited for Invincible for sure. We've waited so long for that one to come out, and I didn't even watch the first season when it originally came out. I watched it a few months after. So we've been waiting a long time. I think we're gonna get more episodes than we did from the first season. And then I think we're going to get that season 3 a lot sooner than we did for season 2. So the wait won't have to be as long. We both read all of the comics to Invincible, so we know the story in and out. We've done an episode on Invincible before, and I'm excited to have a reason to do more episodes on Invincible. We're definitely going to watch each episode together and then do a recap episode on each episode. We have to.
Absolutely. It's one of our favorite shows, one of our favorite pieces of content. Yeah.
No. And we don't know when that one's coming out yet, do we? We don't have
we don't have a specific
date.
release date. The prevailing theory is that it's going to be coming out or over the summer, and I believe the prevailing theory is July. Yeah,
I mean, that makes sense.
There's been a few hints on their page. Namely, for me, is the one with duplicate, where it said, is she a 7? And they gave a 23 at the end, so 7 for month, 23 for year.
Yeah.
And I think that there's been a few other hints as well. So we know it's going to come out 2023, most likely over the summer, and we're probably looking at July. We know that they've wrapped all the voice work for season 2, so they're just working on animation. And from what Carrie Payton said, Carrie Payton is the voice for Black Samson, made a statement that they're in the midst of production already on season 3. So they're already, because they got confirmed back at the same time, not back to back. They got confirmed season 2 and 3. They're already working on season 3. We can expect a quicker turnaround. Robert Kirkman, the author of the series, of the comic, who also works heavily on the show, and then Ryan Otley, the artist of the comic, who we also love, have both made statements promising information on release dates soon.
Yeah, I really hope we get to see Conquest.
I really hope for Conquest. Yeah, Angstrom Levy would be really cool as well. Mm-hmm. The Invincible Wars would be really cool to see. I doubt we'll see Thrag anytime soon, but I'd love to see Thrag. We're probably
season 3, right?
Yeah, we'll probably see General Craig, which is another prominent member of the military force.
I feel like he's a guaranteed for season 2.
He has to be.
Yeah.
Because there's no way they're going to keep Omni-Man out that long. They're not going to bench J.K. Simmons. He's such an important voice role in the show.
The Boys, that's probably my second favorite, most anticipated show. Does that actually come out next year?
No, you mean this year? It's already 2023. Yeah. It's not confirmed. I would say it's still a possibility, but there's not information released on it yet. We're still waiting on details.
It's going to be 2024.
More likely it's going to be 2024.
Yeah. Are there any DC shows coming out?
No, they canceled Gotham Knights.
Okay, and I know they're working on the Penguin. I think that just kind of started.
Yes.
So that'll probably be like a year or two.
I was just listening to something where Colin Farrell was about to start filming on that.
Yeah, I saw like a post or something about that.
So that's probably another, like you said, next year released as the Penguin TV series on HBO Max.
Yeah.
But we've got a couple other shows to discuss as well. I was going to mention Kaleidoscope, Netflix original series about heists where the episodes are named based off colors, and you can watch them in any order as long as you watch the heist itself, episode white, as the last episode.
Very creative concept.
The idea is groundbreaking. I personally don't think it was executed in a groundbreaking way, because to me it just kind of felt like they made a show in chronological order and then they were like, all right, now let's mix the episodes around. It doesn't feel specifically like I would have a unique experience watching them in different orders. I would just be confused at different moments
about certain things. Yeah.
Rather than being, feeling completely different about the characters.
I kind of felt like each episode felt more like a pilot episode, and I just couldn't get connected to the characters. Like, there wasn't enough for me to really want to keep coming back. I've watched 3 or 4 of the episodes, and then I just haven't turned it on since.
If you're listening to this and you haven't watched it, my recommendation would be to watch the red episode first, then watch pink, then watch whatever order you want. And I think that will give you a better experience than the order I watched it in.
Yeah, and
red will be super confusing, but
I feel like that's got to be like the draw and the appeal to that. Like, I feel like they're not really going to do this again, because if some people have a really great experience watching it in a certain order, and then other people have like not a good experience watching it in another order, like it could have all just been in the right order and everyone had the same good experience across the board. Like, it's a cool idea, cool concept, but the more I think about the concept, the less I like it.
I like they tried to do something different, and I
appreciate that.
And I like so I like that they took we shot on a limb and wrote something new and original.
Yeah.
Not just new and original, but like super creative and unique. But I also like the performances, like the performance by the actor who plays Bob. He's also Captain Boomerang in the Suicide Squad. That performance I think is really good, especially in his episode, the Pink episode, and then
a little cheesy.
Well, you haven't watched the Pink episode. That's where I'm saying his performance is best. And then the purple episode, I think, has a really good performance from Juan Carlos Esposito, which he's just a great actor in general.
Yeah.
But it's a fun watch. But let's go on to our next topic. I want to discuss a little bit about the Avatar: The Last Airbender live action TV series.
Let's go.
I'm super excited for it. I'm very disappointed to hear that the original creators dropped out of the project over creative differences. But the cast looks really good. Not ideal.
Not good.
Those guys that were giving us all the faith in this project.
Yeah,
but I still have faith based on the cast, based on like it looks like they're hitting the cultural notes of the TV series.
I've seen some interviews with the cast and they're like, this is great. Like we're definitely respecting the original stuff, you know, like it's not going to be like the live action movie.
Don't you think everyone feels like that when they're making a project?
Yeah, and like if the original creators don't want to be attached to it, is it going to be good?
Is that a good sign that you guys are actually respecting what they created?
Right.
Like, why don't they want to be attached?
Right.
But no, the cast does still look good. I'm definitely going to watch it. It'll be easily accessible on Netflix. We love Avatar.
Yeah.
You, me,
sure.
both are your wife and my fiance. So we'll definitely watch it. Maybe have a watch party for that when it comes out and review that as well.
I'm about it.
But that ought to be something else. I look more forward to the Avatar Studios productions.
Which they're coming out with 3 movies.
Yeah.
Let's go.
We're going to get an Earthbender series, or is that I don't know if it's a movie or a TV show, but we're going to follow an Earthbender, the following Avatar after Korra. So I'm really excited for that story. There's going to be a Zuko story. I believe there's an Aang movie as well. But I'm way more excited for that, but we'll definitely watch the Netflix.
I really like the animation too. Like animation, especially when it's like that, it looks really good and you can do anything. You know,
I love animation.
But in live action, you can't do anything with a budget. You know, with like a TV budget.
You can't always make it look the way you want it to.
But with an animation, you can. You know, you can have fire doing crazy things and it looks like real fire. Yeah. Because it's just drawn, you know, like, but you can really tell when it looks like fake fire on the live action. So we'll see how it goes, you know.
And then you also mentioned you wanted to quickly talk about Ginny and Georgia, which I've seen most of the first season.
Yeah.
My fiance always gives me a hard time when I want to watch it because I abstain from watching it so long to be different from everybody. And she's like, you love Ginny and Georgia. So she watched all of season 2 without me. Dang. I came home completely hurt, and now I don't want to watch it because
to spite her.
Because I'll probably watch it with her on her second viewing because she's always rewatches things.
My wife and I watched the first season in one day when it came out.
See, that is really getting into a show.
It was during COVID. I think we watched probably like 6 or 7 of the episodes one day and then finished the next morning. And we basically spent the whole day just watching that. It's a great show. In season 2 especially, they talk a lot about things that a lot of shows try to avoid. And I think it's really cool. And that it's an emotional show. And it deals with like real emotion that is relatable to anyone. But then they like kind of up it a little bit and make it a little dramatic on this like one storyline.
Yeah.
You know, but then everything that branches out from that feels very relatable and realistic of like how you might feel in high school or how you felt growing up if you had a single family household or a single parent household or whatever. Like it feels really relatable.
Yeah, and I'm going to try to not stay on this soapbox too long because this is a longer conversation that I've had with a few people. But I feel like a lot of TV shows over the last couple of decades have glorified things like the sexualization of these like younger written characters, even though they're played by adults, or glorified like drug use in high school or being rich, like shows like Gossip Girl and Euphoria, basically. And I feel like Ginny and Georgia, one thing I will definitely praise it for is approaching those things with a sort of respect and realism that like it doesn't like put these unreal expectations on young kids watching these shows, like looking up to Gossip Girl characters like they should be wearing Versace and looking perfect, and like their relationships. There's turmoil in these relationships, but like these interactions they have and the situations they're put in Ginny and Georgia show that all these experiences you're having for the first time, they're not meant to be perfect. And like, she's fighting with her boyfriend, and she's being put into uncomfortable situations at school and being profiled by teachers. And I just think that they approach it with a little bit more of like through that lens of respect and understanding, and they don't treat it like trying like they're not treating it like it's like a magazine, you know, like making you see these grandiose versions of real life.
Yeah, it's a great. We're halfway through the second season right now, and I've enjoyed every episode that we've watched so far. It's good. Another Netflix show that's coming out that I'm excited for is You, and I believe that comes out in the beginning of February.
You're excited for me?
Yeah. No, absolutely not.
I'm excited for you also. I think one thing. And the show. But one thing I wanted to mention about the show, You, is that I think they do a good job every season of giving you like some kind of change of pace, change of scenery, change of tone that keeps the show fresh, even though it
shouldn't be, right? Like it should have been a one season thing, but somehow they've stretched it out to 4.
But it's always Joe falling back into the same patterns, right? But in the second season, he has somebody that he's in love with. Mm-hmm. And by the end of that season, it's somebody who's also a killer. And he has a child. So then in season 3, we have this dynamic of him doing this little tango around love. And
season then 2 is my least favorite season, though.
I really enjoyed it. I have really probably enjoyed each season more than the last with you, the show. And then season 4, we're now going to be we're going to be in Paris, or I believe in Paris, France. So now he has a child who's getting older. He's in another country.
This is like a perfect example too of like, and it's obviously inspired by Dexter, but a perfect example of how to use narration to move the story forward. You know, like it
adds to the story.
Yeah, it's really cool hearing his thought process behind everything, but it's not unnecessary. You know.
Yeah, and Penn Badgley has just
a good voice.
Does this voice with it, and it works.
Yeah. So I'm excited for that one. I think we should probably wrap it up here, and we can kind of dive into more shows and stuff as they come out. Unless if you have like another heavy hitter show that you want to bring up as our final.
I have 3 animes that I'll speed run through because Aaron says nobody cares about anime. But new episodes coming out of Blue Lock that I am excited for every week. New episodes of One Punch Man coming out this year, and Vinland Saga just last week as of this recording started.
Nice.
Their episodes are actually coming out on Netflix for anybody that's listening that might not know. Every week they'll be, as they come out, be posted on Netflix, which is super cool. I've never seen that before for an anime.
Sweet. All right. So that kind of wraps up all of the movies and shows that we wanted to talk about for this recap. There's so many things that we didn't cover. There's so many projects coming out within the span of just 1 year. It's hard to keep up with it. And that means not all of them are going to be good because there's so many. But hopefully we touched on some of the best ones and touched on some of the ones that are the most tired. Angie, do you have anything else?
No, thank you guys so much for listening. Like we mentioned earlier, feel free to give us a subscribe on our YouTube page, like and follow on any of our pages. We're on YouTube, all the social media. We're on Instagram, TikTok, Facebook, and you can also find us on any of the podcast platforms. So share with your friends and family. And like I said, we appreciate you guys.
Yeah, give us a 5-star rating on Spotify and Apple Podcasts. That really helps kind of bump up the podcast in terms of like how they push it out. So that would really help us out. We're getting some traction on YouTube, which is awesome. We appreciate it. So, and that's a wrap.